I'm Roger Donaldson. I've been making this film now for 2.5 years, and in that time I've got to know Burt Munro pretty well, I think. I've found him to be a most extraordinary person. 53 years ago, Burt took his entire savings out of the bank and, to quote his brother, blew the whole lot on a 1920 Indian Scout motorcycle. Since that time, Burt devoted half his life to making the bike go faster. He takes his bike regularly to the Bonneville Salt Flats in the USA, where he holds many international speed records, including a world record. Burt's unorthodox approach to record breaking sounds like fantasy. He's reputed to have cast pistons in the sand, made cylinder liners out of cast iron sewerage pipes, carved by hand conrods out of old aircraft propellers and truck axles. The stories just go on and on and on.
Burt, good luck now. I'm Dick Rosetta from the Salt Lake Tribune. Dick Rosetta from the Salt Lake Tribune in Salt Lake City.
Oh, the Tribune.
That's right.
I used to work with Arthur Rosetta, putting in milking machines in 1920.
Is that right? What are you driving out here?
Oh, I've worked on this sickle I bought new in 1920.
How do you spell your last name? Is it B-E-R-T?
B-U-R-T.
B-U-R-T.
Most of these Yanks call it.
How's your last name spelled?
M-U-N-R-O.
M-U-N-R-O. Where do you hail from? Where's your hometown?
Invercargill.
How do you spell that?
I-N-V-E-R-C-A-R-G-I-L-L.
G-I-L-L.
I generally spell it with one L.
New Zealand?
Save ink.
New Zealand.
Yeah. It's the most southerly in the British Empire, actually.
Burt, do you ever quote your age, other than 39?
It's no good me quoting. Everybody knows how old I am. I was born last century, when Queen Victoria was the woman that counted. At the time...
Are you trying to tell me that you still operate with the same chassis?
Yeah, that's the original frame on my bike. Did you see it over there? Yeah, I've modified it a lot. And I've built a dozen wheels over. As wheels changed, I had kept up with technology, shall we say, and rebuilt
You've made the wheels, huh?
No, I just rebuilt them. I just make the spokes and modify the hub and use whatever wheel rim is the latest design, you know.
How much power do you have now?
Oh, I haven't a clue. It varies from year to year. I work 9 months and 9 days, every day except 3 hours off Christmas Day. And I had 27 test runs this year, 24 on the beach and 3 on the road illegally. I was over the speed limit, you know. The piston or the rod broke. Maybe the rod broke. Oh, yeah. She broke the rod. Camera. That's 89 in 17 years.
Right, 2 more, 11 more, we'll have the 100. Let's get back to work.
I know my hand full of things. I'll get the 100 yet, as you said this morning.
Yeah. Give it a bit more time this afternoon, we might make 95. I'd say she's done that rod though, but
Yeah, she's wrecked the piston or the rod. I think the rod might have broke.
See, she's out of gears. No, she's still got compression there, she must be touching it.
No, that's just friction. Internal friction.
Yeah, well, righto, let the show go on.
Well, anybody can buy a bike and go fast nowadays, and I think there's a lot more in it and more enjoyable developing a slow machine to go fast. In the 20s, when I first started racing, all the guys practically hotted up stock jobs. And it was a battle. It wasn't only just riding, it was a battle of know-how and learning to make the bike go faster by experimentation and that. But anybody can buy a fast bike today and go fast. Riding it is only 1/100th of the actual experience needed, I think, myself. Although it can be pretty hairy at times too, you know, especially in speed trials. I was running in a speed trial at Drummond 2 weeks ago tomorrow, and the bike was hitting undulations in the road so fast it kept striking my head and finally blew to pieces, and I was blood all over as it poured out of my nose and cut on the face. I got heart shock in 1962 when I got out of control at speed trials at Bonneville. At 150 miles an hour, the bike was slamming over 5 foot at the top and 2 foot 6 from the salt, and leaving a 5-inch wide mark. We measured it all up after, Howard Devaney and I, and I got heart shock out of that, a delayed shock. It struck me 2 weeks later, and I went 5 miles like that, and at 150 miles an hour, I knew I was going to die, because I decided to give it all I had, and it went up to over 180 miles an hour, but it made no difference at all. It just kept slamming into what you call a weave, you know, a violent weave.
Why do you like going fast, though?
Well, who doesn't? Everybody breaks the speed limit, don't they? Well, you work to get more out of your bike, and the only way to really be sure it's going faster is to have it timed and tested. And there's something about speed, it really shows the result of work, whether good or bad, doesn't it? I don't know why I like going fast. Well, when I was a kid, I rode horses and that on the farm, and every now and then you'd have them full gallop, which wasn't very fast, about 30 miles an hour, I guess.
Why do you think it is that Bert has managed to make a bike that was originally designed to do 50 miles an hour do 200?
Well, Bert, he's just a natural-born, tenacious engineer. He has his theories, and he has the ability to put them into practice, and he has the ability to evaluate whether they're right or whether they're wrong.
The family were quite small. I would say I would be about perhaps 9 or 10 at the time. And Father decides that if a car can pull a trailer, a motorbike can pull a trailer. So he sets to and makes one. 4 children in our family, 3 girls and a boy, and we used to go to Riverton Rocks for our holidays, a small seaside resort near Invercargill. And he put the children in the trailer, and away we set out to Riverton Rocks. At that time the roads were mostly gravel, and we got going in this trailer anyway, and the faster we went, the more it wobbled. And eventually all the children were spilled into the gravel. We were very sad and very upset about this. However, we were bundled back into the trailer, and away we went again and set off very slowly. While we went slowly, it was all right. And of course, the faster we went, away it went again, started wobbling, and we were spilled out again, and all the children crying, and we bundled back into the trailer again. And however, we got to Riverton eventually.
I'm the oldest guy in the world to run in record attempts and speed trials, and I'm the oldest in the world to break records. I broke 2 New Zealand national beach records out here about 18 months ago.
I think he's a remarkable old man. He's probably one of the real individuals. He's a person I envy, who, because of his freedom, he's one of the few free people. He does what he wants, and I think most motorcyclists want to be individuals, but Bert, he's achieved something in that way.
A lot of people say to me, how do you keep going at your age? They must think I'm a bit over the normal age for racing or record attempt or speed trials, whatever you happen to be in. And well, I said, I always tell them I don't smoke.
Bert Munro is my brother by adoption. I was the youngest of the 2nd generation family, brought in by the Munros, and he's always, of course, been crazy on motorbikes, and I well remember our mother saying that she really felt that Bert wanted to die with his boots on. There were times when he would be chasing a speed record where neighbours would report that they saw him flying in the air for quite a number of dozens of feet, and they were amazed that he could in actual fact survive.
You can live more in 5 minutes in a motorcycle in some of these events I've been in than some people do in a lifetime. You live more in 5 minutes.
What do you think of Burt Munro?
Oh, old Burt? Well, he's a bit of a dag, you know, but he's a trier, isn't he?
Well, you don't meet very many characters in your life as you go along, but he would be one, the greatest, I would say, as far as we're concerned.
Well, he's always glad to see you, that's one thing. You know, he never sort of, oh, I'm too busy, go on, go off, you know, sort of like other people are. And, doesn't get growly or anything if you're around.
Well, I always figure a man's like a blade of grass. He grows up in the spring strong and healthy and green, and then he reaches middle age and ripens, as it were. And then in the autumn, he's like a blade of grass. He just finishes, fades away, and he never comes back, just like a blade of grass. Is that what you want, a philosophy? And I think when you're dead, you're dead. I've always thought that since I grew up a bit.
I'm his grandson and very proud of it. Probably die on a motorbike. Every time he goes to America, he said that day, so I probably won't come back, but it doesn't worry him. He just loves it that much. I think that's the way he would like to go, I think.
Oh, I think he's a good guy. He's a wee bit past it for his age, but he goes pretty good. Even though of his age, for his ability on mechanicking, he's terrific.
Right, you successfully said nothing.
Yeah.
Reckon if I can be like him when I'm his age, I'll be quite content.
I know, it goes pretty fast, that's all I know.
I reckon he's a great guy. I've known him for, well, since ever I was left school, I suppose. And, yes, he's a real colourful personality. He always has been. One of the boys, enjoys a lot of fun, and he never seems to grow old.
Burt Munro, oh, he's, you know, pretty good. He's just my kind of guy, you know.
What do you think of Burt Munro?
Oh, God. I think he's very, he's clever. I also think he's a dirty old man. But he's nice with it, I will admit that. Not too bad. I just think he's clever.
I've always been happy working on my bike. Even when it blows into hundreds of pieces, I just wade in again and start all over again, and I'm happy doing that. And if you don't put in an effort at anything, well, you might as well be a vegetable, mightn't you? It's effort and concentration that makes life worthwhile. And nice ladies around is a big help. As the guy said at the party, if there's no women, it's no party for me, and he went away home again.
Oh, it's when he's going overseas on the boat one time, we had a 19-year-old. Can not tell you that.
I guess I am a fanatic or an enthusiast. I've been called a super enthusiast, working on my bike so many years. But, you know, over the years. But, well, if a thing's worth doing, it's worth finishing it if you can, isn't it? Lots of people ask me, when are you going to give up? I said, I'm never going to give up till I get a good run.
I thought next day I best go and see his mother. She was 84 at the time, so I knocked at the door and I said, just come in to give you a report on Burt. I says, he had a bit of an accident yesterday, and oh, she says, did he? I says, yes. She says, serious? And oh, no. I said, not actually. I said, a few pounds of meat gone. And she says, I suppose it was on that blooming motorcycle. Yes, I says it was. Oh, she says, that foolish boy. She says, when will he ever give up those motorcycles? And she was 84 and Burt was 60.
I've had 8 concussions, 1 hemorrhage of the brain in crashes. Not counting the one off the bed when I was 11 months old. I was knocked clean out there. Then the next one I had was off a horse I had rounding up cattle one Sunday morning, and I was out all day. Then the next one was about 1921, standing on the seat of my bike waiting for Uncle Alf to get his King Dick going and catch up on me. And I was sort of doing a few acrobatics on the seat waiting for him, you know. And he said he saw me look round, and I don't know what happened, but I went right over, and he said, the way I landed on my head, he is sure my neck would be broken.
I remember one time I was in Tappers when he was salesman for Tappers, and Bert was a hired rider. Every 6 weeks, new tires. And I was in there this one day, and Alf Tapper says, "What? New tires again, Monroe?" "Yes," Bert says. "I'm doing a lot of miles for you, Alf," he says, "and I'm doing them fast."
I went to Christchurch for 22 years and got the record, I think 3 times, New Zealand record. And in all those runs, I never had a perfect two-way run except 3 times. And 3 times the timing failed, and that was the 3 times I made what I thought was a pretty good run. I said, "Never mind, Bert. Next year we'll have a cable under the road and we'll have no more trouble." Well, you know what happened next year? They couldn't get the road no more, and that forced me to go to America.
This is Radio Salt Lake City, Utah, USA. The next song is for the speed freaks out at the Bonneville Salt Flats. This week, the world's fastest machinery gets it together on the salt to attempt to better the land speed record. The oldest competitor is 73-year-old Bert Munro, and he's come 8,000 miles from New Zealand to run his 1920 Indian motorcycle, and Bert has owned the bike since it was new. Bert, we hope you join the 200-mile-an-hour club this year and better your existing world record. And if you're on the road heading for Bonnie, this next song's for you.
Late in the spring of 1920, I stayed a night at the Criterion Hotel in Invercargill. In the backyard, I saw the first Indian scout that come to these parts. Well, I just fell in love with that thing, and so it wasn't long before they come on the market, and I bought one of the first ones for £140 cash, acetylene light, and the electric models were £10 dear. Well, I wasn't fussy about the electric light, so I bought the one with the acetylene light, and that's it sitting on the trailer there right now. But as the one writer in America said, the makers would never recognize this machine. But over the years, I just rode it every day to work and every night to a dance. And one night my mother said, "Bert," she says, "couldn't you stay home just one night with Mum and Dad?" And, "Look, Mum," I said, "I'll stay home tonight." And for 2 years until I got married, I stayed home every Tuesday night. It happened to be a Tuesday night. Like about when I got arrested at Edwards Air Base in 1959. I'd bought a straight 8 Pontiac and went down to Mexico for a couple of 1,000 miles. And on the way, I hunted up where Edwards Air Base, you know. And at the time, I didn't know nobody was allowed in there without special written authority from the Defense Department in Washington, D.C. I headed in, and I used to cruise fairly rapidly on that straight 8 Ponty. So I got away in there. I saw a sign up, "Welcome to Edwards Air Base." So I whooped her up and kept going. There's a lot more writing too, you know. But I got away in there and I got my camera out and I figured the X-15. See, I want to see the X-15. It's the fastest plane that ever flew. A rocket plane. It has done over 4,000 miles an hour with a man in it. I looked up and here's a guy in a pickup. He got out and come over. He said, "What do you think you're doing here?" I said, "I'm trying to load this goddamn camera." He said, "I think you better come with me." I said, "Okay." I knew then I was in trouble. They took me in. They took my passport, my money, my wallet, the keys of my car, locked my car up. Took me in, and the chief of security police was there, and there was a total of about 8 men, and they were all standing handy, so I couldn't duck out the door if I wanted to, you know. So I went to this guy and that guy and always somebody higher up. And I finally arrived at Lieutenant Colonel Terry Thomas's desk. He said, "Why did you want to see the X-15? See, that was the purpose of my visit." Well, I says, ever since I've been a kid, I've been interested in anything that rolls or goes, you know. I says, I remember ships at the Bluff when I was 3 years of age, and railway trains and autos and motorcycles. He looked at me. He said, "I've read about your motorcycle." I said, "My motorcycle?" He says, "Sure, in Popular Mechanics 2 years ago." And then he said, "Monroe," he says, "you know," he says, "we think you're all right. Now, how would you like to see the X-15? By this time I was in the clear, and that guy showed me every plane they had, including the first DC-8 under test. Some of them cost thousands of dollars. They get them built, you know. Whereas mine only costs a few months of hard work. But I've been 23 years working full-time on an Indian and Novella set. 23 years. And in 10 years here, I worked 16 hours a day for 10 years, including Christmas days and late. I never go anywhere on holidays because too many mugs on the road liable to kill you with an auto, you know. When you sit up, you get a terrific sensation of speed. The whole country's rushing at you. You see, you're only a couple of feet above it with your eyes. That whole country rushes at you so fast, it's a blurred area close to the bike, but further out, it's clearer. I'm full bore, probably doing well over 180. Heck, she was just building up speed faster and faster and faster, and it was just going beautiful. It's never gone so good. I averaged enough to, as above the record, the existing record. Yeah, I got the American record with those two runs.
Well, looks like Bert's gonna hold on to his own 1969 55-inch world speed record, 178.971.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bert. Happy birthday to you. Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
Thank you.
Many happy returns.